Yeah. I mean, hopefully that that butt plug order is not too big. Oh, hey everybody! Sorry, I didn't know the camera was rolling. So
I'm here to grease it up.
so we're doing a combination. We're gonna do a couple videos today. One's gonna be Sprocket upgrade on that. Then we're gonna do one on that. And then we're gonna go somewhere and get lunch or something, and we'll do a little Dave and Jimmy show in the car. Do a little bit of a recap. Is there anything happening in the news this week worth talking about?
Jihad Friday?
Yeah. The Muslims are rampaging and killing everybody again.
It's not the Muslims. It's the extremists.
The extreme what's?
Okay, Muslims. The extreme Muslims.
Don't defend them because you are one.
Terrorists.
Well, you're Pakistani. You're from a Muslim country.
Don't tell people that. NSA.
Yeah, actually, Jimmy came over today. He came over to do jihad. But I said, hey, would you rather, instead of blowing my house up, don't touch the gun. instead of blowing my house up, would you prefer to be a cameraman and help me with the bike? And he was like, yeah, all right, I'll do that instead. So we're in Dave's garage.
I don't know what I'm going to do with the tannerite.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll have to blow the sprocket off and do more of a control, like a shape charge to like blow that off.
Let me get my AK-47. We'll get it out.
Yeah. So, all right, we don't need extra magazines. Yeah, no, I have changed my carry option since there's like violence pending in cities. Instead of my little pocket guns, we're going with the PSA dagger with a 15 round and another 15 rounder in the pocket. Can't be too safe these days. Don't touch it. You told me about how clumsy you are with guns, so I'm like, I don't want you anywhere near that.
I just said clumsy. I didn't say with guns.
I think by extension, I doubt that guns would be the one thing you're not clumsy at. So here's what we're doing, and here's why. When I went to the top, this bike is geared really, really tall. Now, it has a lot of muscle to push it, right? But when I went to the 190/55 in the rear, that's a considerably taller tire. It had the effect of raising the gear ratio, the final gear ratio, right? Which is determined by your internal gearing and how fast the motor's spinning, and then the countershaft's sprocket size and the rear sprocket size and the tire size. These are all parts of the drivetrain. So this thing was geared to do 212. It's never going to do that. I would never do that. And I don't think even if I had a 2-mile runway with no headwind, without boosting it or doing serious work to it, to break the 200-mile-an-hour club, a legit, not what the Speedo says, you've got to have serious horsepower. Like maybe a Ducati Panigale V4 with the Akrapovic exhaust in the race ECU that gives you 234 horsepower. That can do it probably if you're a small guy in a tuck. You'd have to do a lot of work. And so, what's the fastest I'm ever going to go, Jimmy?
1 in 70?
Yeah, on the back straight of Road Atlanta, I might be in the low 170, range. That's about it. On the streets, I'm not going to go that fast. I mean, I have gone, but I don't need to. So here's what we're doing. I want to get some of my acceleration back. Not that this thing isn't already savage, but I figured, you know what? Why have all that wasted top-end speed that I can't use or wouldn't use? You have a question?
I have a question. So, if you're changing the sprockets,
it doesn't go to Speedo anymore.
Huh?
Is that where you're going?
No. If you change the sprockets, but you've got, maybe not on this bike, but on that bike, but you've got the electronics that won't let it wheelie or slide, what is the use of changing the sprockets? Since if you do change a sprocket to make your bike accelerate quicker, your really computer, yes.
So, excellent question. I didn't prep Jimmy on that, so good on you for that. Here's one of the benefits of going to a smaller sprocket on the front. What does that do physically to the bike? Now, I did go up one on the back because on this bike, there's a little bit of a different thing I'm having to deal with that we'll talk about. It's a Kawasaki. It's not even a Kawasaki quirk. It's a quirk with this specific bike since they came out and they had traction control. We'll go into that. But typically, I do 1 tooth smaller in the front, which would make you go, well, it's going to be more wheelie happy. Which means the electronics are going to cut in more. When you put a smaller front sprocket on, put on your science hat, what happens to the drivetrain?
I don't know. You're just going to have to tell me. Sorry.
So you're smart enough to ask the question, but not smart enough to know where it's going. All right. Here's what we're doing. He's still thinking about you.
Is it less torquey?
No, it's going to be more torquey.
Okay.
You're not changing the actual torque output of the motor. You're not changing the horsepower of the motor. You're changing how that power is applied to the back wheel. Think of your gear ratios and your sprocket sizes as a lever. and you got to lift a manhole cover. Do you want a pry bar this long, or do you want one that
The
long?
longer.
The longer one, you have to physically move your hand more, but you get much more mechanical advantage. And so your arm is still putting the same amount of pressure, but it's a force multiplier, and it puts more it multiplies and puts more torque, or whatever you want to call it, on the back wheel. When you put a smaller front sprocket on, the chain has a shorter path to follow, which means you have a bunch of extra chain slack, which means you have to move the wheel back to take up that slack. You're effectively lengthening. We're going to move that back wheel back at least 1/4 of an inch. When you increase the length of the wheelbase, put the back tire back, what does that do for wheelies? Why do people go to stretch swing arms? Help keep the front end down.
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to be that extreme. You'd look at it and wouldn't think it's, but that, when you're talking about a big heavy bike with all this weight up front, even just moving the back wheel 1/4, that's your fulcrum. If you think about a lever, the lever is the pivot point. There's your effort arm and resistance arm. It's hard to do this without showing you on a chart, but aim it a little down here. Aim it more towards me. So,
Right.
fire this guy, but I'm afraid he's going to, if I fire him, then he's going to go back to jihad.
Yeah.
This is how I'm
My
keeping-
second job.
Yeah. Dave's garage is going to be a smoking
Yeah.
ruins. Jim in the background. So, so anyway, what we're going to do is by lengthening the wheelbase slightly, by moving the wheel back, it's going to help control the wheelies. Which
that
is
makes
really
sense.
important on that. This thing's so heavy in front, it will wheelie, but this thing's so heavy, and with the traction control, it will cut in. But I just figure I want more drive and acceleration in the mid-range, and I'm on the highway at 80 miles an hour, and I'm at like 3,900 RPMs. It's like I'm barely above idle. Good for gas fuel, for fuel economy, but it just doesn't need to be geared that tall. Hello.
Oh, you look nice. Someone's got a date.
Yeah, where are you going on this date? Have I met him?
Sushi?
No.
I was thinking about
No,
sushi
no,
today,
Sarah's.
that's why. Oh.
So, all right. So here's what we're gonna do. So because of all that, we went down. All right. Now normally I would just go down one in the front for the reasons I just mentioned, and that would lengthen the a little bit. The problem is on this specific bike, Kawasaki has an issue that they've never fixed, where if you change the sprockets at all, when you're at a certain RPM, the traction control glitches and you feel it like and in the first 2 gears. So when you're going slow, because most traction control systems look at, now there's the new ones with IMUs and stuff, but as far as like your legacy, your original ones, front wheel speed sensor, rear wheel speed sensor, whatever. And it compares the two, and it sees the rear spinning up faster than the front, or the back tire is going fast and accelerating, and the front is dropping speed because it's off the ground. It goes, oh, either a wheelie condition or a loss of traction, let me cut in. This compares rear to front to that. And that third data point is what causes the glitches, because it's expecting that wheel and that wheel to spin at certain speeds based on this speed. And when you change the rear tires, so when you change the rear sprocket or any of the sprockets, for some reason it goes, that's the wrong speed here. The engine's turning this speed. It's the wrong speed for those two wheels. And that's what happens. And it causes it to glitch. Now I can ride around it, but it's there and you notice it. It's a little annoying, but it's not dangerous in any way. I read that if you gear it down a little bit more and you put down one and up one, then it balances it out and it's fine. And if I do that, it will bring my theoretical top speed from 212 down to 193, which this could actually do if I wanted to get out on an airport runway just for giggles. And if they have those speed, they shut down a runway, a private runway for a day, and you can bring your Lambos out and stuff and pay to go down the track.
Ooh.
That's the fastest I
That'd
could
be
ever possibly
nice.
go. So that's why we're doing it this way. Normally I just go down one in the front and move the wheel back. Another question, James?
Yeah, I'm used to the
All these
sensors on that
fucking
bike.
Interruptions. Everybody just decided
But-
to walk right through the studio.
I know, right? Where are the sensors on the Cowie? I don't know where those are. I'm just
Wheel speed sensors. Those are those speed the tone rings for your ABS and traction. There's one in the front and there's one in the back. It's on the right side on Cowie.
yeah, I don't see.
There's a rear wheel speed sensor back there. There's a ring with the little slots in it. Somewhere.
Oh,
It's on the other side. Come on.
I know what you're talking about. Oh, I see
Yeah.
it. That's just like the Yamaha.
It is. The difference is, though, that the Yamaha doesn't have a sensor on the counter shaft, or at least they didn't program it the same way. So that's the difference. It's comparing 3 data points. Because when you change the sprocket, you're not changing the speed of the back wheel to the front. They're both rolling along the ground, so they're going to be the same. The problem is, it's going, well, that's the wrong speed for that RPM. What's up? And that's what causes it to glitch. So from reading, they said if you go down 1 in the front, which I believe is what Chris Moore told me too. He's like, yeah, the Kawie's like that. And even though you can flash the ECU, that's one thing we can't change. No one's ever solved it. Brock didn't solve it. Brentoon hasn't solved it to my knowledge. So that just is what it is. So here we're going down 1 and up 1, which will keep the wheelbase about stock because you're moving it forward to account for the bigger sprocket, 1 tooth larger. But then you're going down 1 in the front, it'll go back to basically where it was. But this bike's so long, low, and heavy, I'm not worried about it looping and wheeling and stuff like that. That bike will be a different story, and I don't know. I may go, that's way too much. We need an 8mm, and I should be able to get off this. I have a feeling that there is another one down there, and so we're going to need that extension. Okay, you feeling me, James?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's do a dis and this, and this is going to go on the end of that. All right. So first thing I want to do is I want to get to the front sprocket. Because while this is on the ground and in a wheel chock, and I can put it in gear, I need to get that front sprocket nut off with an impact wrench. Because Kawasaki is known for keeping, like the largest gorillas in captivity, and then they feed them a bunch of methamphetamines and say, here's a pry bar, go torque that for us. And they come in and they put an insane amount of torque. And if you want, I'll tell you what.
Oh, it's trying to get the tripod open.
That's all right. Let's go. Tripod.
Oh, that was easy.
Look at that shit.
Yeah, like my old 600. Remember when we had to do that?
Yes, and I bought an impact wrench specifically for my wife's ZX6R that was the same year as yours. And she was like, "Oh, I want to do the quick acceleration kit, blah blah blah." Okay, great. And I'm out there with a pry bar, with a whatchamacallit, breaker bar with a piece of pipe on the end, and I was lifting the back tire off the freaking ground. I'm like, this is insane. And it's got a retaining clip, so that thing can't loosen anyway without bending a bunch of metal tabs out of it. I was just like, this is stupid.
Do you think they haven't changed that in Kawasaki?
I am
From
almost positive.
2007.
My Z900 was the same way. You need a freaking impact wrench, dude. It's just crazy. All right, that cover is still on. I think, all right, so this piece, let's pull out our hoses here, is the one fly in the ointment, is that normally you just take off the plastic cover.
Right.
And you might have a shift linkage in front of it, which we'll have to do on that video. Here, you got hydraulic clutch, and it's in that piece. So now we've got to find, we got that bolt, that bolt, that bolt. I think the one that is down in there will be the 4th. I think these just mount it to that metal case. This is not plastic like most. That's aluminum. That's cast aluminum. So now what I got to do is try to get this. And I got this. There we go.
Loudness is back.
Oh, of course she's back. What did she forget?
That's not helping.
Is that for this, or is that something else? The reason I'm asking is because it's like
Quick.
I don't know if that's for the engine case, that was much tighter than the others. I might need your flashlight. Let's see. That's a case, that's a bolt. That bolt does look like it's part of this. Let's see. What am I missing, Jimmy?
I don't know.
Normally this is like a very simple affair, but I don't see any underneath there. I feel like that one is.
Whatever it is.
It is. It's part of this. Okay, so hold this. That's good. It's just the way it was coming out. It almost like feels like it's Loctited or something. So I'm like, wait, is that like an engine case bolt or something different? Hey, if it starts pouring oil out the bottom, let me know. Then we'll know. All right, so that bolt's loose now. So now the question is, does this have to come off? Do these bolts go all the way through into something? So that's gone, that's gone. What other bolt could there be? That one's backed out fully. I do not see any others. So let's just loosen these a little bit and see if they're just into this case.
Yeah. It's
Okay, the
moving.
whole thing's moving. Okay, so those are the ones.
There's a third one you can't get to.
I will get to it. Although, these two, I think that whole thing's going to come off with just these two, and that one's going to stay on.
That's what it
I think
looks
this
like.
one just goes into the case.
Mhm.
These go through the case to anchor it so that there's no, with all that pressure, you can anchor this here so that this isn't like wanting to flex or, you know, anything like that. So it looks like this might be the trick. Yeah, that's it. Dude. Jimmy, you're a genius. I don't know which part you had in this, but I'm going to give you the credit, okay? All right. All right, that last one just has like 2 threads holding that in. So the other one will be easy. We'll just have to take off the shift linkage, but that's not hard. You've done that before, right? I got this other one in here with like half a thread holding it.
Oh, did the washer come out of it?
Yeah. Huh.
Uh-oh.
What are those for?
Extra parts, you don't need them.
Well, oh, no.
Aha.
I honestly don't know where those
Oh.
came from.
I thought they came
Those
from
might be
the body.
spacers, but for... I don't know, James. This could be a bigger pain than it's worth. We'll find out in a minute. All right, so we got to pull this out somehow. Come on, damn it. What's it catching? Pull this plastic out as much as I can. I don't want to snap anything.
What the heck? I should probably have to take this off.
Yeah. All right, hold on. Can you go and get me like a flathead screwdriver, top drawer, small drawer? Get this bottom piece off. That'll make it easier to put the other thing in. Yeah, my concern is what if those spacers were behind this? Although these are short, so I don't know why. Those are short bolts, so how could that have?
Alright. Oh, I'm just gonna look everywhere for this flathead screwdriver.
There's nothing in the top little drawer? Fuck. Even a small one. There's gotta be something in there.
Yeah, that,
Damn it.
that's not a flathead screwdriver.
Alright.
My tool is worse.
Here. just come over here for a second. It's the shaft that it's pushing on. All right.
Oh yeah, you definitely.
Bring some paper towels and some brake cleaner over here.
So here's brake cleaner.
Should be a little towel sitting around somewhere. If not, there's a thing over there.
There's a thing over.
There's a box. Let me get the helmet over there, dude.
Oh Jesus! Right here.
Yeah. Fuck me. This is a pain. All right. Come on, man. I got my hands full.
Well, no,
I
had your helmet in my hand, so I didn't know what else to do.
Kind of a pain in the ass here. This is. I don't feel like those screws should have made a difference.
Here's yeah.
All right, hold on. All right, hold on. I think I got it. Almost. All right, I got it. Come here. I need you to come over here and hold this. Up top, like you were before. Wires were going through this and capturing. Yeah, so those screws I took out don't... Well, they do. Yeah, that one does. So honestly, it was just that one screw.
That had a spacer?
Well...
Two of them came out.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd make sense if it was just...
Yeah, just hold it. Let me tighten this because this screw's not coming all the way through. That one did. But that spacer doesn't look like the kind of spacers that you would use here. These look like the kind of spacers that typically go in the plastic. And it does. So that's what fell out. So, okay, we don't need to worry about that. Okay, I was like, God, how are we going to get the spacers back in there? So what you need to do, sir, all right, is just hold that up like that. And ooh, what was that? Okay, hold that up and out of the way. Crikey. Okay. So now, people, that's for a clutch. We need to get that off. And that means there's a... is it this size? Let's see, what size is it? Or does that thing just spin off? I feel like that thing in the middle has to come out. But it doesn't appear to be any size. Why does Kawasaki do this? Okay, I do need to find a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to shut the camera down. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. So here's what we found. Take out all 3 screws. Don't lose that. That's a spacer. You'll need that. And that gets this comes off first, and that would have made it much easier to get that bigger cover off. So these are out of the way. Put your bolts aside. Don't lose your spacer. So now we can just kind of tuck that out of the way. And so to get this off, you need, it's a metal tab right there. We need to pound it a little bit flat because it's right now pushed up against the edge of that nut. So we get that out of the way. And now we need to find the right size. So that is...
Way too big.
No, small.
Too small. Ooh.
That's a 32. We need a 34 or a 36. No, we don't need a 45. That was a 32.
36.
We got 36. There's 36. There's a 30. Please tell me that I have a fucking 34. Is a 36 too big? Yup. So, yeah, 36 is definitely too big. Huh. All right, well, what other sprocket, so what other thing could we use here? Shit. I'm really annoyed that someone borrowed my 34 sprocket, because I had one.
You know who it was? What
No. No, but somebody has it. And that's really annoying that I'll have this thing apart. And I won't be able to work on my own damn bike because someone borrowed my tool and didn't fucking return it. Shit, man.
Oh yeah, that one's way too big.
Dude, this happens every time. People, oh, can I borrow this? Yeah, okay, just bring it back. And I never see it again. And then the day that I need it. So we need a 34 mil sprocket, so we may have to go to the store to get that. And then we're going to use an impact to take that off. So, before I go to the store, let's pull out the trusty calipers here, and let's make sure of what that is. Dude, if you don't have a set of calipers, you need to get a set of calipers. Of course, invariably what you have to measure will be in a weird, awkward...
Isn't it the same as the rear bolt for...
34.
For the thingy?
No, the rear, the one was the 32. No.
That's a 32.
32, yeah.
Okay.
This one's a 32, and it's 2 mils too small.
So what did your caliper say?
34. It's a 34. So I'm gonna look around for 34. If I can't find one, we're gonna have to store. We'll go and do that. We'll come back and finish. I think we're good here. There's two sizes here. The outer is a 34. That's a 27. So let's see if we can get off with a 27.
Wow.
Boom. All right, now I need you, James. I'm going to be the cameraman for a minute. Can I trust you? You want me to do it?
No, what am I doing?
We're going to remove we need to loosen the rear sprocket, the rear axle nut. So, and then we're going to take we need to put some slack into this chain enough that I can get that sprocket out. So, I'm glad the 27 worked. I was looking at it, I'm like, it looks like just two sizes on there. Yeah, so go ahead and hoist that up and make sure that these are to the outside of the spindles, because the way they are, the way how he mounts them, I don't want that piece of metal to dig into the swing arm and scratch it like I've already done on this side.
Shit. Oh, shit.
Did you? I was literally telling you what not to do.
I did.
Huh?
I did it. Scratch it.
Did it scratch it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, James.
Sorry.
Now I'm gonna blow.
I can do it.
Now I'm gonna fucking jihad you. All right.
You got a marker?
Yeah, we'll touch it up with some paint. But I was literally telling you, don't do that, and then you just went and did it.
You were. Sorry, dude. You won't see it with a marker.
All right.
I guess you couldn't trust me.
All right. So we're gonna loosen the chain.
And the wheel?
Yeah. So here's the breaker bar. What is that? What was that? We said 30 or 32? What do you need?
I think a 30.
A 30?
I don't know. Let's just start with a 30.
Just loosen it enough so that when we loosen the back wheel, we can slide it forward. That's all we gotta do.
It's 30.
It's what?
It's 32.
32. Note to self: get a 34 mil
And a black marker.
and a black marker.
Is it up?
Yes. Are you not strong enough?
I think it's down.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm over on this side. Yeah, you were tightening it. You're right. I'm on this side. And I'm like, yeah, up. Forgetting. Yeah, wait. Lefty loosey is opposite.
Lefty loosey is actually up.
No, you're tightening it.
Oh.
Go the. Oh my god.
It's so tight, dude.
It's all right. People miss the Three Stooges, and they're probably glad that we're back. Basically. All right.
It's so tight.
Dude, it calls for like 140 foot-pounds or 120 foot-pounds or something. All right, that's it. As long as it's enough that the wheel moves. Keep loosening it. Unless you over-tightened it and messed up the nut and the threads. Okay, I can hear you threading it by hand. Okay, now, loosen the lock nut on the thing and then just start screwing the whatchamacallit all the way in. So you got to give yourself a bunch of slack in the chain, move the wheel forward. That will give us enough to pull this out and off. So I don't have quite enough slack in there. So we're going to let him work his magic. And by magic, I mean hopefully not bungling it.
Scratching something again.
I can't believe you scratched my swing arm.
I know. It's like when you scratch my swing arm by sitting on it.
No, that was because you had ghetto exhaust on your bike. Didn't fit properly.
That was funny. What was that noise?
All right, so get that thing, push in, and
It's got like...
okay, go to the back of the tire and whack it forward. More. Come on. It's not moving forward.
Is it because it's your side?
No, my side's not hitting. Kick it from the back. Just kick that tire forward. It's on a wheel chock. It can't go anywhere. Okay, all right, that's as far forward as it goes, maybe. Huh. Oh, you know what? That probably...
There. You need more because it's my side that's not... Oh, no, actually, it is my side.
This is like two monkeys trying to screw a football. We need to get this off. There's not quite enough slack. So I don't want to have to take the rear wheel out of the bike if I hit. And it's because I already put the 1/2 taller sprocket on the back, which took up my extra slack. That's the problem. I'm going to see if I can get this finagled out of here.
It's probably...
Boom! It's out. It's out.
Okay.
Just enough slack. And the new one going in is smaller, which should make that then easier. I'm hoping I can... Come on, a little more. Get that in. Boom! All right, hold on. Now I just got to get it lined up with the splines. Good. Okay, so when this came off, where did that piece of metal... All right. Do I have the right side out? I don't know if this sprocket matters. I see the model number, and that's usually when you see the model number etched in there, that's usually the side that comes out. That goes back on. This has motor oil for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Are you sure it's not just lube?
I don't know. Maybe. It's not a lot. It's just like a drop or two. All right. Let's see. I'll get off the garage floor. All right. So now we've got that on. I don't know what the exact torque is. I honestly don't worry about it. I just know it's got to go on tight. Hold the back tire steady if you would. All right. That ain't going anywhere, especially when we're going to take our screwdriver here and a hammer. More oil in there. Okie dokie. And just tap that, tap, 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 tap. With that little edge there, just tap it so that it goes against that flat surface. And that's why you don't have to go, you know, you got to make sure it's torqued down, but you don't have to go insane with it. So there we go. Boom. See how that is now locked against that, and that's attached to the splines? No way for that to move. So now we go back and we adjust our wheels. Let's put the front on. Let's get all the front back together here. So where's my cover? What we're going to do is we're going to not spray brake cleaner in here. We're going to spray it on some paper towels and just wipe some of that chain goo and stuff off. Get some of that. All right, just get some of that crap out of there. Doesn't have to be super clean, but I figure as long as we're in there anyway. Throw that in a cardboard box over there if you can grab it by that side. So now, yeah, Ginny, this is way easier. Watch this video in reverse if you want to see the best way to do this. So All right, red Loctite. Red Loctite. That goes over there. This one, I believe, goes here. Yep. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to install this back. All right, so just to recap here, move your hands if you would, so I can make sure this is going in. It's not. There we go. So don't tighten the first one up till you get the other ones all in and lined up. So just barely snug it so it holds it sort of in place. And pop in the others. Let's see, is that one? Yep, that's the one. Longest, second longest. And then there's a short one on the bottom, and then there's a slightly not quite as short one. Or actually, let's see. There's that one, another medium one. I think what goes down here. Yep. And then the one you pulled out with the red Loctite is the one that you need the flexible extension to. All right, so let's get this in there. And of the three we had, the extra, it's a couple millimeters longer.
That one's got a different head.
And it's got a different head, slightly. So take that one. Now the pain in the dick here is going to be trying to get it threaded when it's, well, because you want to be careful not to cross thread it and stuff. So trying to get this. Huh, no way. There's no way I got that threaded right the first freaking time. Yes, I did. All right. Now, I'm feeling it tighten up a little bit from the red Loctite. I don't want to tighten it because there is still one more bolt that has to get anchored. First thing I'm going to do, take this. There is a little bit of schmutz in there from just chain lube and grit. So I'll put a little bit of this on here and insert it gently into the rectum in a circular way. And just clean that surface out. Yeah. Put your spacer back on, and now you want to do that. So, if I recall from how things worked on the Ducati, you don't just torque down one because the bar, all right, so the way this clutch works is with a hydraulic clutch, instead of having something that pulls on the other side and pulls the outer clutch basket away from the clutch plates, you're pushing it from the inside from this side. Okay, and that's how the Ducatis all work. So what we're going to do here is go back to this, and what we want to do is we want to put these in, and you're going to screw each one in a little bit at a time because this has to go in, the pieces in the center. You don't want to cock it and do anything like that. You want to try and get even pressure pushing this thing in there. And whether you do it with 2 or 3, but you got to do it at least from 2 angles. And you tighten a little bit, then you tighten the other one a little bit until you get all this stuff in there. And what I'll do is on this one, I'll use 8 millimeter. And when you feel it start pushing in like it is right now, give it a couple turns. Then go back to the other ones, and now they're going to be a little loose. So you want to kind of turn. See how every time I do it, it kind of cocks it to the side a little bit. Mm-hmm. So you want to do a little bit, go back to the other one. And that way there's no chance of bending anything. It's not going in cockeyed or anything where it's going to bind. Just do it a little bit at a time until it's seated. Yeah, this one's definitely more of a pain, but it is similar to how I did it on the Ducatis. It wasn't, at least the ones I had, it wasn't part of the same cover, but the cover went underneath this slave clutch, or the, let's see, the clutch slave, and so you still had to remove it just to get to it. So. All right, all those wires that I get through, yeah, they'll come out the bottom, right? We'll double check that before we really tighten anything up. All right, that one's in all the way. Those are, these were pretty tight. So I'll go over it with a torque wrench later. I'm not going to bore you with all that. Those are tight, and they got plenty of red Loctite on them, so they ain't going anywhere. And let's just double check all these wires are moving freely. They're coming out the bottom hole where they're supposed to. Nothing. Good. We're good to go. So we'll go ahead and tighten that one. And now we'll tighten all of these. And those, they only get, I think, like 20 foot-pounds or 15. It's not much. Not much at all. It's not structural, it's just holding that in place. And now we'll get into our wonky one. And that's basically it. At this point, we're going to go through. I won't bore you with the rest. I just wanted to show you, because I knew this one, the procedure was going to be a little bit weirder than normal because of the hydraulic clutch. And now we'll just route our hoses back down and through and then put our 2 fairing bolts back in and we'll be good to go. So that is it for this. I'll do a ride review that I'll edit and tack on to the end of this so you can see my thoughts on the results. But we've now gone down one in the front, up one in the back. That's going to let us move that wheel back to about where the stock position. And on a long, low, heavy bike, this is going to add a good bit of drive. First might be a little wheelie happy. Second's probably going to be a little bit more wheelie happy, maybe even a little bit third, but that's okay. You can modulate that. But when you're in your upper gears and moving along where you're getting some downforce and wind resistance, it should help. I mean, not that it needs it, but it really doesn't need anything. I mean, it's stupid fast. But why have top speed that you cannot physically use if I can change my gearing to put that torque, that drive more efficiently into the range that I actually use all the time? That's what I do. I typically gear my bikes. I think, what is the fastest I could possibly ever go on street or track? Like, what realistically on a naked bike? What am I going to do? 150 maybe? Like on like an MT10?
Like 40 on the street, realistically. And then
well, even on the track, like it's a naked bike.
170 to 180 on a track.
Not on a naked bike.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. On a naked bike, I gear those differently because it doesn't matter if the motor could do 180. If there's no way in hell I could hang on to the back and get that thing to do 180 because of the lack of aerodynamics, why not gear it to do 155 and get better acceleration? You know, make it more of a hooligan bike. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and readjust the chain, tighten it up, and we're done. And then we'll do a ride review. Probably, well, you know what? I'll post these up, and then I'll do a ride review maybe tomorrow.
Give us a black marker.
And yeah, we'll get a black marker to fix the spot. How bad is it? Let me see how bad it is.
Don't look.
Because it gouges, it's steel. It gouges into the aluminum. Move your dumb leg.
Don't look.
Let me see. Get out.
Don't look.
Move your hand.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, you gouged into it a little bit.
Slightly.
You're fired. All right, we're going to do this. Then we're going to swap bikes. We put the MT10 up, and that should be a lot quicker and a lot easier. So that's how you install sprockets. So stay tuned for another video on how it rides. I did ride it with the one tooth up in the back, and it wasn't a massive difference, but I could feel it being a little more jumpy, a little more let's go when you got on the gas. And going down one tooth in the front is like adding another 2.5 in the back. So between the two of them, it's about a 3.5 to 4 tooth difference in the back. It's a significant difference. So now my bike will only do 193 if I can hit red line in 6th.
Until you get that turbo.
Yes.
Twin turbo superchargers.
With a rocket on the back. No, I'm gonna hit up Musk. Huey works for
yeah.
Blue. What was it? Blue. What's Jeff Bezos' jet company? Yeah, Huey went from tuning my bikes to now he's building rockets. Huey's awesome. So yeah, we'll see if we can get Huey. Maybe if they have like a defect one or like a scratch and dent for like rockets engines, like I get it for half price. That'll be nice. But all right, folks, that's the install. A little more involved than it should have been, having the right tools ahead of time. But here's the thing: this is the journey. I'm not a motorcycle mechanic. I do a bunch of stuff on bikes, but a lot of times it's like I haven't had to do that on this bike. So we're going to figure it out as we go along, just like we did with the MT10 and how much of a pain in the ass it was to get the damn whatchamacallit in there, the air filter and stuff. It's a learning experience, and you can watch my video and go, oh yeah, don't do what he did, or towards the end realize, oh yeah, it's better to take this off first and get it out of the way, and then this can come right out. You know, it's all part of the journey, my friends. So anyway, we'll talk to you all later. Hope you enjoyed. If Jimmy doesn't blow me up before now and then, we'll be good. Yeah, see how much that's moving back a good bit further. Nice.
That's a little...
Dude, this ZX14 is going to be fast now. It's totally... I can totally beat a 600 now. Yeah, we're gonna set that. I'll set it with calipers. We'll get it right down to the millimeter. Make sure they're even. All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, we're back for 1 second. So here is some weird irony. We were finishing out the video. By the way, we got our wheel all set up. We just got to tighten the couple bolts. Oh, and the fairing bolts. But you know, we're talking about Huey, how he's working for Jeff Bezos' company, and Huey is my guy, man. I love Huey. Always gave me good advice. We're like, Huey's awesome. Talking about Huey, and I get a delivery from FedEx. Now, I haven't talked to Huey in a couple months. I asked some questions about tires real quick, and it's the thing. He's like in Texas now, working for Bezos, building rockets. And I was like, when I had that tire delaminating, I texted Huey. I'm like, you ever seen this before? Here, and I said, here's the tire pressures I was running. He's like, those are perfect, exactly what you want. Of course they are, because of the pressures he told me to run. So, you know, he knows. Blue Origin. And he's like, yeah, they didn't cook it long enough, basically was what the problem was with delamination. So anyway, we're sitting here talking about how Huey's awesome. I shut out the video. We're putting the bike back together. And I get a package from FedEx of what I assume is a pretty nice bottle of freaking tequila from spirits.com from Huey. Dude, thanks for everything over the years. I was using that laptop and thought of you. And so, he needed a laptop at one point because his business was closing down. You know, there was some things going on there with the business. And I'm like, he's always done me a solid. There's been times I go into him and bring the bike and he's like, I'm not going to charge you. Or like, hey, you want to tune it? And he's like, looking at the day, gives me a free run. You know, he's like, I don't need to. Save your money. It's fine, you know. And when Donna's bike blew up, remember when her Cowie dropped a valve? Huey came in on a Sunday, and we got the bike to him that day. And he came in on a Sunday to the shop and went into it and shined a flashlight in the top of the motor. And then it was shining out through multiple points on the ground underneath the motor. Oh. He's like, well, there's your problem. So he's like, you know, I'll buy it right now from you. I think he gave us $2,000 for a bike with a blown motor that was, you know, and he's like, I'll throw a motor and use it as a track day. And Donna used that money to go get her new GSX-R 600. So Huey's my guy, man. He's an awesome dude. And we're just talking about him. And Huey just FedExed me a nice bottle of tequila. So I thought I would throw that on there. So Huey from old Marietta Motorsports fame. Real solid dude. He's a real mensch. As the Jews would say. I feel like I should give them a shout right now. They're facing a lot of stuff right now. So anyway, thank you, Huey. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thanks,
Say bye, Jimmy. Now we should end it with, I'm going to see if I can take like a nuclear explosion. Like as Jimmy says goodbye, we'll finish the video. I'll insert an explosion.
Stand right.
Yeah. Later, guys.